are now in session. Welcome to Calexico City Council, Calexico Redevelopment Successor Agency, Calexico Financing Authority special meeting agenda for Wednesday, May 13th at 2020, and it's approximately 3:18 p.m. in the afternoon. By law, I need to read this. Due to the Declaration of Independence, this meeting is being held pursuant to authorization from the governor's executive orders. Some or all of the city council members may participate in this meeting by teleconference as authorized by Executive Order N-2920, issued by the Governor of California on March 17, 2020. Until further notice, there will be no public access to city council meetings. However, public participation is available in the following ways. 1, members of the public are encouraged to watch the meeting via live stream at www.communityspectrum.org or via the Calexico City Hall Facebook page at www.facebook.com/City of Calexico CA/. You may also join the meeting via GoToMeeting from your computer, tablet, or smartphone. On this date, that would be global gotomeeting.com/join/983244093. Or you can also dial in using your phone. And that's pretty much it. All right, roll call, please.
Mayor Bill Hodge,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem David Romero. Not here.
Not here.
Councilmember Rosie Ariola Fernandez. Here. Councilmember Morris Risen. Here. Councilmember Luis Pacheco.
Here.
We have a quorum, Mayor.
Thank you. Now we may stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I will lead you. Hand over heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which we stand, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty for all. Thank you. Would you like to start it off, City Manager, on the mission statement?
Together,
we pledge to provide effective and efficient services in a courteous and respectful manner to improve the quality of life for all in our unique border community. Viva Calexico. If you will indulge me, we don't have Mayor Pro Tem, but last time I wrote a little prayer, probably not as good, but it was heartfelt as Mayor Pro Tem. So please, here is the invocation. Dear Lord, we believe in you and trust in you. We surrender ourselves to you and ask you to guide us in doing what's right for our community and families during these troubled times. May your will be done and give us the light to work together, to love each other and sacrifice for others. In the name of our Lord, amen. Amen. You may be seated. Approval of the agenda, special meeting agenda.
So move.
Second.
Oh, second. My God. Definitely seconded by Councilwoman Fernandez. Okay. All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oh, we need to do individual roll call. Okay. We'll do individual roll call then?
Here.
No, it's aye.
Oh, aye.
We're doing. Mayor Hodge, aye.
Here. Yes.
Aye. Okay. We have again absent Mayor Pro Tem David Romero, so us four, it passes unanimously. All right, announcements. These proceedings may be viewed on the City of Calexico website at www.calexico.ca.gov the Friday following the City Council meeting. Community office hours with Mayor Hodge have been suspended due to coronavirus COVID-19. Community office hours maybe will resume on May 26, 2020 from 5:30 to 7 p.m. We will inform you on that decision at the City Hall and City Managers Conference Room, 609 Heber Avenue, Calexico. Do we have at this time any public comments? We do not. Then we will move right into the core section of our meeting. We will begin with a presentation by Police Chief Geraldo on the Calexico Police Department proposed budget for fiscal year July 1st, 2020 to June 30th, 2021.
Sorry. Mask off.
Welcome, Chief.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, City Council members, staff, and public, whoever's watching us. So today's presentation that I'm going to have is not so much on the proposed budget, it's on the statistics that we have regarding the calls for service, and then I'm going to go into some of the requests that I'm going to hopefully get next year if we do well with our finances. And that way, as a council and as a staff, you guys know what is coming your way. So we start off, says the City of Calexico presentation for today. It's got our patch. Introduce myself, my lieutenant, and my administrative assistant up there. We got my administrative sergeant who oversees my evidence tech, my traffic meter supervisor, 2 animal control officers, and my dispatch supervisor. Following that, we're going to have Team 1, which is Sergeant Orozco with his officers. We have Team 2, which is Sergeant Acuna with his officers. And one of the gentlemen there is a new officer, which I have not introduced to you yet, but as soon as we open up, I'm going to bring a total of 3 officers that are hired since we had our last meeting, open meeting. They're going through the field training program at this point. I have Sergeant Ceja with his officers too, and as you can see, the picture that does not look is because he's one of the new officers that was not here to take the actual picture. But as soon as we can do the makeup pictures, he'll take it. Sergeant Legaspi, same. He's got the officers, and he's got a new officer on the shift that's going to the field through the field training. So we have 3 shifts, 3 new officers going to the field training. We still have 3 vacancies for police officers. These are my dispatchers. I'm missing my only male dispatcher, but I have a total of 7 dispatchers right now. Of course, going back to my meter parking traffic division staff, you have my supervisor, the female next on the far right. She is a full-time employee, and the 2 gentlemen are part-time permanent employees for the City of Calexico. This is my records division. The 2 ladies in the middle are actual full-time records clerks. Right now, with the COVID-19, the lady on your left with the yellow-ish cover on her sweater and glasses, she's actually was a dispatcher, so she is helping us in dispatch during COVID-19. That way I have 2 dispatchers on at all time. The other ladies are my temporary hunter employees, which hopefully once this gets through COVID, I'll bring them back to help us. These are all our temporary traffic controllers, which are 100 employees. Most of these people are already gone. I still have a couple of them that we brought back because of COVID. And you might see some familiar faces because some of them are 18, 19. You can go up to the age of 21, but these are my Calexico Police Explorers. These are some of your color guard or our color guard members. And these are all young ladies and gentlemen that want to be police officers one day. Most of them say City of Calexico. And these, I couldn't fit them in the other picture, so they're there. We have 2 police reserve officers, which happen to be our part-time permanent traffic controllers. So they come in and they donate 20 hours a month minimum. They actually put more hours in that. City does not pay them for being a police reserve officers. So the calls taken by dispatch, we'll start off with dispatch because that's who, when you call 911, that's who you get. Calendar year 2019, there was, through our computer automated dispatch, I was able to pull through the audit report that we answered and we picked up the phone 153,601 times. Doesn't mean that we dispatched that many people out, but they answered the phone 153,601 times. So it's either police, fire, or EMS, or just for business calls too. The records or admin, sometimes they go into dispatch and they dispatch them out, or transfer other calls to other 911 centers throughout the valley or out of state. Believe it or not, we've had a call where somebody's calling from Missouri, calls 911. For some reason, it hits us, and we have to transfer it back to the city where they're calling from. So dispatch has, through their California law enforcement telecommunication system, can look up the city and get the number for that dispatch center, and they transfer the call over. Year to date, from January 2020 to yesterday at 2 p.m., we've received 52,952 calls coming in. It looks like we're trending a little bit less this year, and I think a lot has to do with the COVID-19, the fact that schools and certain businesses are not open, so we're not getting that many calls for service or calls coming in. Most of the calls that we're getting are calls for service, not these other calls. Dispatchers, fiscal year 2019-2020, I had 6, and then July 2019 and January 2020 were 6, and then starting February, around February 2020, we hired 1 dispatcher, and we have a total of 7, which includes dispatch supervisor. For next fiscal year, one of the requests that I made through finance and for my budget is to increase my dispatchers to a total of 8, and that includes a dispatch supervisor for right now until our financial situation gets better, and then probably if we get this filled next year, I'm going to come in and ask for another dispatcher. And just one of the things I want to reiterate is that our dispatchers do handle all the calls that come in for EMS, police, and fire. And Chief Avila would probably have some numbers related to how many fire calls or EMS calls they had this year. Police officers. So I have 1 police lieutenant. The council approved to have 2. We're in the process of testing for that promotion. I have 5 sergeants, 4 patrol, 1 is an administrative sergeant. I have 6 senior police officers, 9 police officers, and 3 police officers on field training / probation. Police officer vacancies right now is 3, and then I'll get into the grant stuff in a little bit. Animal control, 2 full-time animal control officers. The facilities, we'll start upgrading with new tarps and probably coolers this coming fiscal year, and it's all through money that has been donated and some of the money that we might have that we included in our budget for repairs. But most of the money for the tarps are all donations that were brought in through volunteers of the animal control facility. We do have on the tarps, we do have prices and quotes on them from a company from San Diego, and we're just awaiting this COVID thing to go through or pass a little bit before he comes down and we'll try to install these. Those tarps are going to be used for winter and summer. The wintertime to shield from the cold, and the wintertime to shield from the hot air that sometimes goes through, and also maintain the coolness from the coolers. Parking traffic enforcement, we have one supervisor, one full-time traffic parking officer, two part-time permanent, and then we have the seasonal temporary traffic controllers. Last year, the council allowed us to buy 4 vehicles, which was great help. We haven't had that many problems with the vehicles when it comes to breaking down, so our expenditures actually reduced when it came to repairing vehicles because we were putting more money into the vehicles than what the vehicles were worth at the time. So we should be good. The 2 smaller Cushmans we bought, they actually have fans that oscillating fans and air conditioning. Before they didn't have that. Office equipment needed for right now. One of the major needs because of our replacement of copiers and scanners, which is all-in-ones. For admin, records, dispatch, and patrol, we have reached out and asked for prices on that. Our contract with Biesco has expired. It's been expired probably for 2 years, and it's costing us more to maintain those copiers than it is if we leased or bought new ones through a different company. And we're still printing paper. There's still a lot of stuff that we're doing online, but there's still the district attorney's office. There's still a lot of reports that require for us to print it in paper. We also, our reports that we sell to the public, they have to be in paper too. And I'm looking at replacing 8 of my computer desktops for the patrol. There's been a lot of new upgrades, and so.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, it's fine. So that's what we're doing. Patrol equipment needed. We're replacement of bulletproof vests. They're 5 years old, coming up. I did apply for the bulletproof vest partnership grant through the federal government, and we did get the grant last year. We have 3 years to buy the vest. We're looking at, our part will probably be $14,000 to outfit the whole department with brand new bulletproof vest, which is part of our policy, and we need them replaced. Replacement for 4 fully equipped police patrol vehicles, not to exceed $325,000, and that is one of the things that I spoke with our finance director, and she probably recommends trying to lease them instead of purchasing. You get more bang for your buck there, and then it's a one-stop shop too. If we get that granted, we will do RFPs, and we're going to try to when it comes to the radios and the computers for the vehicles, everything's going to be local. Replace handguns and patrol rifles. We are actually right now testing out different guns. The last time we bought guns were back in 2012, 13, when Chief Newjar was here, is when we bought them. So they're 7 years old. Even though we don't, thank God, get to use them a lot during work, we do qualify on them with them, and so they do get old, and the liability on the guns it's a great risk to have a gun that doesn't work. So what we do is we will reach out to the place that's going to sell us our new guns, and they'll give us fair market price for these current guns. I will also be coming to the council, because in the past the council has allowed the active police officers to purchase the guns that they carry, and we'll pay whatever market price the company's going to offer the guns. So if they tell us we'll give you $300 per gun, the officer buys it. There's no liability in the city because we go through a third party. We have to go through the same checks that every other person gets.
But the weapon belongs to the officer.
At that point, it belongs to the officer, yes, and the city gets the money for that. And it's our gun, but we would have to buy new replacement guns for the officers. So we might pay about a quarter to replace the whole guns because they'll buy back the guns. So the guns might be 450 now. They might give us $300 per gun. So it'll be 150 guns times 40. Let's say as a round number.
So excuse me, I don't quite understand. So if the gun, if the police officer purchases a gun, are they using it?
No,
while
this is
they're
the guns that we're getting rid of.
Oh,
I'm sorry, I should have been more clear with that. So it's the guns that the officers that we're getting rid of. The officers, we would want to ask permission from you at a later date to buy our guns back. I mean, they've been on our hip for the last 13 years, and we kind of grown accustomed to them. So a lot of officers want to buy their guns that they carried for 13 years. It's a cop thing. You guys, so we'll look at also the rifles to see if it's worth replacing them. I won't go out there and make an expense that we do not need to make. But if the rifles are old and it's come to a term, same thing. We use them. We practice quarterly with them. We'll shoot anywhere from 200 to 500 rounds to them. So they get shot a lot.
Chief, here's a dumb question. Everybody buys a 9mm or a 45 or a 38. Everybody has the same issued weapon.
So yes, so up to now, everybody carries the same weapon. New studies are out there that they say is if the officer feels comfortable, we'll give them three choices: a 9mm, a 40 caliber, or a 45. It's what the officer feels comfortable shooting. So you might have an officer that has a smaller hand. Most definitely, we want to shoot the 9. The 9mm nowadays, the ways the ammunition is made, it does the same impact as a 40 caliber. So we look at costs too. The 9mm rounds are less expensive than the 40. 45s are on the same price as a 9. So we look at all that to see what's going to be more cost effective in the long run, plus what the officer feels more comfortable shooting. When we go to the range, we'll test all these guns out. And I prefer the 45. There's somebody else prefers a 9, and somebody else prefers a 40. So it's what you're going to shoot better with and qualify with, because God forbid the day you need to use it, you don't want to find out that, you know what, this is not the gun that I can shoot. Because you can practice all you want. If that gun's not made for you, you're not going to shoot it well. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I thought there was a standard. Everybody uses the same weapon. You're going to holster. Everybody has the same issue.
So up to now, everybody's done that, and new studies have. We're just going with the new trends that everybody's switching either all to 9s or they're giving them options. When we get to that point, we'll decide as a department what we're going to do. We haven't decided which caliber gun we're going to go with. The police department, I know that there's going to be some aesthetics going on the outside when the new fire department or it gets remodeled. So on some of our needs, the front lobby needs to be remodeled. Our floors cracked, even the furniture, we need to repaint it. I know there was $10,000 that was allocated. I don't know if it's still there but if it's not, I mean, we'll try to figure out how to do that. We'd like to paint the interior of the police department, and it says police floors. I forgot to just rebuff the floors, get them all stripped down and buffed out. We haven't done that since 2015, Martha. You were there, right? So when we last did them. So I mean, they're taking a beating. One thing I know that after the fire department completes the remodel, and I don't know how long it's going to take, I would like to resurface the rear parking lot. It has a lot of potholes and there's a lot of dirt out there, and also would like to put new exterior LED lighting to improve officers and public safety. Plus, we're going green by going LED. So the outside lights outside the PD, and then if we can get the same company to give us a quote later on to do the inside and go LED instead of the fluorescent lights, it's also save money and going green for our building.
Chief.
Yes, sir.
What about your bathroom? What condition are they in?
So, in our bathrooms, that's part of the building repairs we would like to do. We have one bathroom stall that we need to work on the plumbing, but that is probably going to be connected to the old fire department building because it's the same line that goes through their old building. Their restrooms were all they were bad. So you get that, that smell, methane smell that goes through our jail, then it goes through the men's restroom. So once we see I don't know if they're going to cut that line there, and we might not have the backup of the methane going anymore. It's not all the time. It happens once in a while, and we'll go flush what we got to flush to get it going. But that's one of the things we're looking at too.
Okay, very good. Do you have a facility for eating? for the
We
police
have
officers?
a small little break area. I mean, it's not like, I mean, I would like to see something better, but I mean, I'm not going to be one of those that I want a kitchen. Maybe we replace the microwave but other than that, in a perfect world, we would have a full-size kitchen, but we don't live there. I mean,
Right.
we're not the fire department. Fire department lives there. I mean, we're there for 12 hours. We're in and out. Most of my guys are on patrol. It's a break room like City Hall, where as long as you have a refrigerator, we have a microwave to warm up our food, somewhere to sit. I'm pretty sure my staff can continue working that way. I mean, I'd be selfish if I say, yeah, I want a gourmet kitchen. I wouldn't ask for that. I prefer to spend my money on stuff that my people can use and need.
Okay, thank you.
We have some pending submitted grants. Cops hiring grant, we did submit this year for 3 officers for 3 years. And after the 3rd year, we have the choice of bringing them on, or we say, your grant ended. And historically in the past, when we've done this, by the time the 3 years are up, the city is doing well and they become police officers. We hire them under the limited term basis police officers, and after that, they become police officers. And if there's any vacancies, those limited terms become permanent, and then we hire people under limited term for 1 or 2 years or whatever it's left on that grant.
Chief, I don't see an SRO anywhere, but I know that
So
the high school and the junior highs utilize the same one.
So yes, so the high school right now, the SRO, and I totally forgot about that because that's a contract that we have out. We have a contract for one, and they want an additional one, and we haven't been able to fulfill the additional one because we don't have the manpower. That's where it's at. If I had enough people, then we can fill that. But we're still servicing the city, the schools, but I can't take their money and not promise them an officer. I don't think it's ethical and it's legal for us to do that. But as soon as we're up to par and we get more officers, we'll give them 2. And my goal is, if the city recovers good out of this COVID and we keep on going good, it is good to us to start looking at, as a department, me as a chief, at sending officers to different task forces, because that's where your asset forfeiture money starts coming in. If I don't have anyone participating in a task force, nobody, and those are future goals, because I need to hire people first, and then we got to make sure that we service our city before I start sending people out. The store guarding grant that we put for this year, we put in, and it probably won't take effect till 2020, late 2020, no, 2021, 2022. We actually asked for 3 fully equipped patrol vehicles too. Same thing, that way at that point, if we could get that, that would give me like 7 cars, and then we would wait, to fill the rest. We've been looking at what type of vehicles we want, and we've been doing a research, and we'll make what's good we'll make the right decision for what's better for us. We don't want to spend too much money fixing cars that are new. Some of these cars that we hadn't bought in the past, we made a mistake because their suspension were terrible, their brakes, and we spent a lot of money on these vehicles. We're not going to make that mistake again. Pending projects, dispatch furniture and chair remodel. It's already been, the 911 has already allocated that money for us, so we're getting ready to do that. The only reason why we've held back is because we need to buy 3 new radio consoles. We bought the radios already this past year, so we're up to par with the next generation radio upgrade, but we need 3 radio consoles in there. And right now we have money probably for like 1.5 of them, so I need to come up with another 1.5 of it's around, they're running about 130,000 a console, and it's through Motorola, and the software's expensive, and that's why That's a cost. The radios we already bought. Like I said, we can function with, but those consulates, once they go out, we're done, because those are probably 20-year-old consulates. They don't make those parts anymore. This batch, the radio console, that's what I brought up to you guys. We have the alarm billing. We had everything ready to start July 1st, but they need to come do the hardware and software setup, and the company that's doing it says they're not doing any work outside because of COVID-19. They don't want to infect their people, plus they don't want to infect anybody, so I'm just waiting for them to come in and do that. I've been on the phone with them. And coming July 1st, this is my last slide, you're going to see a different uniform. It's the same blue one, but we're changing our patches. The new patch will represent City Hall and the water tower, because those are icons for the city of Calexico. The officers wanted a change, and it's our department, not just mine, and that's what they chose. I liked it, so we went ahead with that patch. So we're going to have that patch. All of our gold or brass insignia for rank, and even the sergeant stripes and our service stripes are going to be silver in color. So it'll be a little bit different. Anything to make these guys feel better, work better.
Those Raider colors?
No, they're blue. They're blue. It's more like cowboy colors, actually. So you're a cowboy fan. You're a cowboy. But it's one of those things. They have a summer uniform that I approved. Same thing. It's gonna have those patches, but they'll be wearing a polo shirt with the tactical pants. Whatever makes them feel better and work better. That's what the department's headed to. And that's it. You have any questions?
Chief, when we go out to bid for the patrol vehicles, what is the most that we have? We have a hodgepodge of patrol vehicles. Why don't we go with, if it's going to be GMC, Ford, Dodge, and these guys are, we can't afford a Dodge, but I'm saying Chevy, Ford, and we have a Ford agency here. We want to help out. What is the issue with?
So what happens there, Mr. Pacheco, is not so much I love to go local. I mean, to me, it's local. That's why we're saying we want local when it comes to our radios, our computers, for everything to outfit the vehicle. The vehicle cost, when it comes to fleet pricing, their bids come up almost the same. It's going to come out on the specs, what we spec out. In the past, people have come under because we ask them with ballistic panels, bulletproof on the doors, and even though we give preference to our local, they still don't come under. So we give them a 5% leeway, and they won't put the panels. Delivery times is another one. The car, we order them black and white, because we go out there and says, look, the specs, we spec them out to saying we're looking for an SUV with a 6-cylinder, all-wheel drive, with a push bar, with dual LED lights, police vehicle, and that's what we'll put. So the bids come in, and if they come in and somebody bids a Dodge Charger, then he doesn't fall under the specs that we want it, because honestly, I'm not looking at Dodges. We spent too much money on them. It's ridiculous amount of money on fixing those cars when they were brand new. The suspensions went out right away. I talked to the officers. I told them I'm not buying Dodges, and the guys that like them said, "Oh well, I'll keep on using the old one until they fall apart." But everybody else likes the SUV type. So if Chevy makes or GM makes a better SUV at the time, which we don't know, but Ford seems to have the upper hand, is whatever we spec out, and that's what we get. And if we're going to be leasing them, we're gonna request it's got to have this type of light bar, this radio, this computer, this whatever equipment needs to, and it's got to be included in the packet. So what I want is I want a turnkey patrol car. Just you deliver them, and we get on them, and it's ready to go.
Can the guys in the shop work on the vehicle?
So the good thing about that is on Fords, they're pretty much the same. but I don't think our shop can handle some of the repairs, because I don't think the shop, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Dale, the shop hasn't kept up with all the computer system or all the diagnostic equipment that a dealership has. So, I mean, they can fix a lot of stuff. I mean, tire repairs and change their wheelchair wipers, oil changes, just your regular, maintenance stuff. But when it comes to open up the engine, work on your fuel injectors and stuff like that, they might not do it. A lot of that stuff is still under warranty for the first 3 years, 36,000 miles. So, I mean, we have a fleet manager, which is Sergeant Marcus, and he's really good at that. I mean, he's right on it. We try not to spend money, but sometimes we have to with these Dodges. But like I said, going back to that, if we can go local and they can, we're not going to give them heads up on the bids. We tell them this is what it is, submit it. These are the specs. Don't go off the specs, because I want ballistic panels, and if you can't deliver them to me, then your bid's not in compliance with what we asked for. That's what happened last time.
Where are you gassing up now?
So we're gassing up we're part of the CFN network, and it's worked out very well for us, because we go in there, we put the card in, put our ID number. Everybody has a different ID number, mileage of the vehicle, and the vehicle number. So we know how much gas is being used by an officer every day. One of the things in the past that they were afraid of is people were going to be stealing gas. Well, I mean, it's very hard to steal gas, because you have cameras in all these gas stations. If we suspect any city employees stealing gas, all you got to do is go to the cameras. Everybody usually, a graveyard patrol shift person that's on patrol 12 hours, and out of those 12, he patrols a good 6-7 hours, he'll use up half a tank of gas easy. And if he's pumping in, 15 gallons, 18 gallons then he's, there's red flags, and we'll look into that.
Any more questions or comments? Chief Arao? No?
So that's what I'm asking for. We already have our budget. We already have the numbers, but this is a little bit extra that I'm hoping you guys,
Yes.
will consider.
Gotta wait and see.
Yeah, like I said, if I don't ask, right? Thank you.
Very much, Chief Arao. Okay. It's time for presentation by Fire Chief Favila on the Fire Department proposed budget for fiscal year July 1st, 2020 to June 30th, 2021. Welcome, Chief.
Good afternoon, Honorable City Council, the City Manager, Assistant City Manager, and the staff that are present here today. And most importantly, to all of our citizens of Calexico that are watching via the GoToMeeting app. My name is Diego Favila. I'm your fire chief, and today's presentation it's truly an honor to be able to come up here and speak with you guys. I like this platform. I know it's something that we used to do in the past, but for some reason it was gone. It comes back, and that's a true example of leadership and transparency, and for that I appreciate you and thank you for that. So when you're planning is this clicker here? Yeah. So when you're planning a budget for a department, a city, or for anything that you're doing, it requires a couple of things. It requires a look at the past. And what you're looking at there is you're trying to see what you did right, what you did wrong, what worked. At the same time, you're looking to your future. And this is kind of where we're at today. You want to make sure that you allow yourself to meet your goals and all your standards, which ultimately is our responsibility to our customers and citizens of Calexico. So real quick, this is your quick look at your fire department, the presentation today. The first slide here represents the total of incidents for the Calexico Fire Department. This is a 5-year view, and as you can see with the police chief's presentation, the high call volume in the city of Calexico. Well, this 5-year view right here, you can see that there's been an increase in call volume every single year. And what does this translate to? Well, this means that there's more work for our employees, and it shows an increase of need for the service. If you look at 2014 till 2019, that's an increase over 1,008 calls. More important or more crazy is this 2018 to 2019, you had 775 calls. At the current rate, we are trending to be over the 5,050 calls for 2020. This is your fire station number 1, which was built in 1920, and I am happy to announce that yesterday we finished the bids. It seems like we are on track for good things on the construction of the new station. Fire station number 2 is located on the west side of town, and this is the station that services the west side community of Calexico, and this one here was built in 1989. So the fire department follows a 3-battalion concept, and what does that mean? It allows for 6 captains, 6 engineers, and 12 firefighters for a total of 24 personnel. That's what you run at your stations. There's 3 shifts. Each shift has 2 captains, 2 engineers, and the remaining are firefighters. What we see here, when we see the number 24, we see that the number is falling short of what our national standard is of the 1.5 firefighters per 1,000 residents. In a perfect world, we would have 60 firefighters working here. And that was obviously our long-term goal. But initially, our short-term goal is to get back to our staffing level of 10 per shift for a total of 30. At this time, we're 6 short of that goal. And when you're short personnel, it brings up a couple different challenges for your employees, right? It means that our workload is increased, tough decisions have to be made, shortcuts need to be taken, and these shortcuts, unfortunately, can lead to tragic events, and at the end of the day, that's a risk management nightmare. So what do these 24 individuals do? So we have 2 divisions at the fire station. You have operations. In operations, City of Calexico, like many of the departments here in the Imperial Valley, are all risk emergencies. We respond to fires, auto collisions, rescues, hazardous material response, and medical emergencies. The other division is fire prevention. This is staffed with 1 fire inspector, and his job is to ensure that all businesses are inspected and are meeting all of the federal and state standards. He also has a responsibility to ensure that all schools are inspected and that all the fire plans are reviewed. And this is done with 1 person. We have over 1,000 businesses in City of Calexico, not to mention all the projects that come up and the new buildings that need to be inspected. So what I did here is I separated the 2 divisions in order to show the request or the ask or needs for each of these divisions. The ask for the operational division, the first ask or need is a simple one that I think, and that's for a quick promotion of a fire captain. At this time, we have an acting engineer in that status, and he's been there for off and on for a year and a half. And we've shared that with other engineers. That way they get the experience of actually running the shift, and it also gives them time to get all their certifications for that. Well, the captain is responsible for making all the leadership decisions, command decisions while on the emergency incident, and at the same time when they're at the fire station, they are to provide control and they oversee all their subordinates at the station. This position is a required position in the Firefighters Association MOU, and we currently have a vacancy at this position, and that's from a separation or a retirement. The other one you see up there is the promotion of a fire engineer. That too is also a position that is a Firefighter Association MOU position, and this position is responsible for the safe arrival of the crews to all the emergencies. They're the ones who drives the fire truck and the ones that operates the pump that gets the water to the hose and to the gentleman. But not only that, they also serve like in a leadership role. In the absence of the fire captain, as we see now, as of late, the voided captain has been filled with the acting captains, which are the engineers, and the engineer's position has been filled with acting engineers, which come from the firefighter. So all of us are not only doing your primary job, but you're also acting up, which it's a double-edged sword. First, you get experience, but at the same time, it's a new beginning to you, and you may not have all the certifications yet. So with the promotions of those, that would obviously fix that need right there. The second ask for this, or the need for this one, is going to be at the firefighter level. So the addition of 3 firefighters would be in order to increase our staffing by 1 per shift. If we get 3 firefighters, we would get 1 to each of the shift. That would put us at 9. A little short of our goal of 10 personnel at all times. These positions are critical and of great importance, especially the times that we're currently living in right now. If ever there was a time for firefighters, it's now, right? These firefighters are being worked to the point of break. They have not been able to use vacation hours since of March to the present because of the increase in emergencies that we've had and the lack of personnel. This will not only help the employees, but also a great boost for the emergency system of our citizens. Excuse me. Our next ask or need would fall under that the fire prevention category or division, and is for an additional fire inspector, which could assist the current inspector with the high workload that he's currently handling. Like I mentioned, it's just one person doing this. We fortunately have several projects in the planning stage, but these projects will add to the work of his duties that he has right now. This position is vital, as we can see from our recent incidents where we were challenged legally, and because of our fire inspector and his great work, we were able to come out ahead, and for that, this shows the benefits of a strong prevention program which saved the city from liability.
Economically, it's beneficial also to have another fire inspector.
Of course, it makes
Yes.
the community safer. Businesses get deductions in their insurance rates, and overall, it's just a great liability tool for the city of Calexico.
Okay.
So the next slide here is our equipment. So here at Station 1, well, in total, you have 7 emergency vehicles for Calexico Fire Department. You have 5 fire engines, and you have 2 ambulances, and you have 4 staff vehicles. These are the ones that are at Station 2. You have a primary type 1 and a secondary. In the event that one goes down, you have the secondary backup. Well, on this ask, a need is for a new ambulance. And on this one, it would be a lease to purchase. The current units that we have in service right now have been in operation since 2008 and 2012. The one from 2008 was the last time the city purchased a ambulance, and the one from 2012 was generously donated by the Heffernan Memorial Healthcare District.
Chief, I'm sorry. One brand new ambulance runs us how much?
We just submitted the prices to finance, and we're looking at about $40,000 a year for the lease. And here's where our thought process on that is: if we do a lease, we're able to change those every 5 years in order to save on maintenance. You keep them longer, you have more maintenance. It's more costly for that. And now more than ever, obviously, it's important for our ambulance to be in good operation. I think is that the one I put out there? Yeah. Okay. And the other one is we're asking to upgrade 2 of our staff vehicles. The fire department has always received I don't want to call them hand-me-downs, but they technically are the hand-me-downs. I appreciate the police chief was gracious to give us 1 vehicle for us. We used that at the time. We received one from Public Works. Unfortunately, that one was more costly to put it in service than to actually to use it, so we haven't even really used that one. So we're asking to upgrade these 2 staff vehicles. These are the vehicles that are used at incidents to recover the equipment, take out the fire hoses, take bottles, BA bottles, return BA bottles. When they're out on these calls, our off-duty personnel shows up to the station, and they need to get to the scene, so they jump in these vehicles, and they take it down to the call. While the need for these vehicles are of great importance and are much needed, just a quick example of how long it's been since our last purchase was 2003. And at that time, George W. Bush was our president. This is a total of 17 years. So for 17 years, your fire department has not upgraded their staff vehicles. And obviously we're at the point where we're losing money in our maintenance rather than saving. And I think a lease or a purchase would be good for there. So what we're asking to procure on that one is 1 truck and 1 SUV. The next topic is building and maintenance. So the bid openings were performed yesterday, like I mentioned. And in the beginning, this is truly a great step in the right direction, something that we've been waiting for.
Long overdue.
Long overdue, and unfortunately, it lasted that long. But we are on the right steps to getting our new fire station, Not only is it good for our employees, but more importantly, it's great for our citizens. They deserve nothing but the best. So by getting this new fire station, we're going to be replacing the fire station that's currently down here on 5th Street. So that's going to be a good accomplishment. It's a long overdue project, like you said. So the firehouse here at Station 2 is another station that we operate. That one, like I said, covers the west side of the community. It houses 1 fire engine and 3 personnel there. This station was built in 1989, so it's not as old as our other one, which was built in the 70s. So on this one, we're asking, or the need for this one is to upgrade a portion of that station. For more importantly is the roof that covers the living quarters. There's a faulty roof there, which causes, when it does rain, not that it says that it rains a lot, but when it does cause damage. And unfortunately, we have signs of mold, and it's something that we need to jump on before we get to the position that we were with our previous fire station, where it was unmanageable. There's also a couple upgrades that need to be made at that station. For example, the kitchen area needs to be upgraded. Unlike the police department, like the chief said, theirs is more of a break room. We're there for 24 hours, so this is where they cook their food, store their food, and with the quick signs of that mold that we were talking about, it puts a liability on the department. We'd also like a new look on the outside, and that goes to my motto. You look sharp, you're gonna feel sharp. Goes the same thing as if you pull up to the fire station and it looks presentable, you're kind of happy to get to work. You want to look in there, and also your customers, like I said, the citizens, they see the fire station and they're happy to see it looking sharp. And obviously, most importantly, is we don't want to find ourselves in the same situation that we were with our fire station here, where it was beyond fixing. The next topic is training. This is something that obviously, and I know the finance director and the city manager know that I've always been asking about this training, and it's super vital. I can't emphasize that much, because we need to keep the citizens safe, and at the same time, we need to keep our crews safe, and they need to be educated. So training must be in order to maintain our status and up to the standards and laws. It was some of the savings that I plan from the maintenance. If I'm allowed to get these vehicles, that maintenance savings will just run over into the training budget, and that will be good for us. Training is important because it will teach our staff how to properly respond to this global pandemic that we're currently in. It also put the department in good standings with the California State Fire Marshal's required classes. And again, the savings from the vehicles and the ambulance would obviously go into fit in this category here. And the last category that I'd like to mention is to have some one-time purchases for 2020-2021 budget. It's the need for some safety equipment for the employees, and most of these items here are OSHA requirements. Some of them, just to name a couple of them, there's a long list of them, but for the priorities are our wildland gear. This is protective equipment that we use for grass fires, rubbish fires, and more importantly, these large wildland fires that we go to and respond to other counties. This one right here, the second one, is bulletproof vest. We need to prepare and be prepared for these active shootings in the event that we would have one. We also we're the backup to the police department. If one of their officers were injured, I would hate not to be able to go to the rescue because of the lack of a bulletproof vest. And I have been working with the chief, and we're looking at seeing what we can do maybe, and together we can make this happen. Our helmets have a lifespan. Those need to be looked at. And as the police chief had mentioned, he had mentioned that his radio system, the radios that we currently have right now were part of the legacy issue. There's a new radio system now that we're like 50-50 in compliance, so that is something that we're going to have to look at. There's a couple other items, and I'll just bring those up as we do our speaks with the finance director and the city manager. So lastly, I just want to say thank you for listening to my presentation, and believe me, I know that you guys are faced with a very difficult decision in the next couple of weeks here. The decisions that you're going to have to make is how are you going to be fair to all the departments? Because believe me, all the departments have needs, and that is true. Well, every single one of them, and everything they're going to ask you for is very vital to them. We're working at the bare bone level. You can see our guys running out there right now as we're speaking. And the fire department, I kind of used this phrase the other day, and it kind of fits well, that we're no longer at a bare bone level. We're more at a molecular level. So we already passed the bones. So we're into the molecules now. So I know your decisions will come with advice from the finance director and the city manager. And for that, I am pleased. I like that because I know they have the citizens and their employees' best interests in heart and mind, and that makes me feel good. I'm also aware that not every request you receive over this period will not be met. I understand that. That's just obvious. I only ask that you do me a favor and you look at the past budgets and you guys really look into see how much the fire department has been set aside, which is obvious with some of our vehicles from 2003. I mean, that's 17 years since we've been looked at. A lot of the new hires that we're doing now is we're just filling voids. We haven't really added an additional firefighters. We're just filling voids. So I just ask that you look back at those budgets and realize that yes, we have been set aside. And believe me when I say I know. I may ask for a lot of these items as none of these items are asking for are nice to haves. These are pretty much the need to haves.
Necessities.
The necessities, yes. That's my presentation.
All right, very good. Any comments or questions?
No, I just feel that they're doing an awesome job, and I think as a council persons that we are, that we need to assist as much as we can and make sure that all this happens for them. Because remember, they're a hospital on wheels.
There are first responders. Any questions
Thank you for
or
that.
comments?
Thank you.
Well, for Ms. Lovatos, one fire engine, one FTE, how much would that be, firefighter?
You know what, I'm going to answer that for her. And,
I'm sorry?
and this is just because she's over there, she doesn't have the mic. But you're looking at about 120,000 per firefighter after benefits and stuff like that. I'm sorry?
41,000 per year on the fire.
Yes.
Well,
That's going to be your ballpark. It's going to be about 120,000, sir.
well, because our overtime projected is 107,000. That's not going to cover an individual with benefits and everything, so we're down to the bones.
No, we're at the molecular level.
Yep.
Any other questions?
Chief, congratulate your staff. I mean,
Thank you. I do that every day.
It's a hard job.
Yeah, it's especially during these times, it's a little difficult, but I appreciate that. I'll make sure I let them know that you said that.
Yeah, we appreciate you, Chief, and the police department also.
Thank you.
Would you mind going on record, just very briefly,
Uh-oh.
about, this is positive, you mentioned a little while back, of what is the relationship or working relationship between police and fire?
Oh, man,
Just briefly.
That's a love-hate relationship. No, I'm just kidding. It's amazing. It's awesome. It's truly a definition of what teamwork is. It's something that we haven't had in the city for quite some time. Yeah, I love it. I don't think you can get any better than the relationship we have. We all know what our goal is obviously the community and the service. We're both on the same page with that. He helps me, I help him. Yeah, I think on the record, I have no problem going on the record with that, yes.
Good.
Great.
I didn't think you
That
would.
is great.
No, not at all.
But you're
Okay.
right, times have changed, and we've got firefighters wearing bulletproof vests now.
Yeah, that's something that you wouldn't have heard of or
What?
really thought of before. It was a helmet and boots and a jacket.
And just
And,
help.
but now, unfortunately, we do have to have those, yes.
Okay,
We're doing a lot of inner stuff.
great,
Great.
great. Any more?
All right, any other questions?
Is it called cross-training?
You know what?
Yeah, we do that. We actually do that.
And these last, Mr. Hodge witnessed one,
Yeah.
because of the training we got through West Norton.
That's good.
And the shooting we had, same thing, training we got through the fire department, we were able to save something. So we saved 2 lives, and that's enough.
That's good.
And then that's what a team does. They work together, they share the knowledge.
Chief, don't let it go, but we need to get our ambulance fees. I know you're working hard with Ms. Lovatos and those people involved with going with Medi-Cal and Medicare to make sure that but
I get it, yeah.
it's
Believe me,
it's
that's,
frozen, I know that's what they pay
Yeah.
out, and we don't even get our fair share from that, and 80% of our riders are in that band.
yes.
So keep up the good work, and again,
Yeah, thank you so much.
thank you, people.
2, sir. We have 2, yes. We had the 3rd, but we just recently donated that one because it was in need of some high maintenance on
And
it.
you really need 3, right, Chief?
3 would be ideal, 2 to be on the street and 1 to be reserved in the event that we have to maintenance or just share the workload on them.
Okay,
Think about it, you had an ambulance from 2008, how did your miles look on that, right? Remember, we're commuting to the city of El Centro on a daily basis. You guys hear them all day here at City Hall and probably throughout the city, so yeah, it's time for it now.
okay. All right. Is that it?
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See what the budget brings.
Yeah. It's rough. Some tough decisions. All right, now it's time for Carlo Lovatos and the Finance Department. Proposed budget for fiscal year July 1st, 2020 to June 30th, 2021.
You don't need bulletproof
And welcome.
vests, do you, Ms. Lovato?
I'm sorry?
You don't need bulletproof vests? You
No,
don't-
I
Not yet,
don't.
right?
Nobody going in to-
Not yet, maybe in the
Don't
near
say
future.
that.
Never know.
That's a reality. Can be. Well, welcome.
Good afternoon, council members. My presentation will be much shorter than both of the chiefs.
Did the boys take too
I'm
long?
not complaining, I'm just saying. So, we're just gonna briefly touch over on the finance department, what we do, what we process. As you well know, we are a support department for all the other departments. So, a lot of what we do is dependent on what the other requirement needs, the other department's needs are. Oh, what happened here? Is it me? I know, right?
We have our,
Seems like I lost my
we have the packet
presentation,
here.
but I have the backup
We
this
have the
time, so
packet.
I am prepared.
Is there a packet?
So some of the things the finance department does is we do, obviously, general accounting, budget management, financial reporting, revenue management, cash management, and debt management. That was me. I'm sorry. But I don't know what I'm doing, obviously. So the role of the finance department is to safeguard the city assets, assure timely payment to vendors and our employees, administer and monitor internal controls, which I'm happy to report that we're doing much better than what we had been doing in the past. Our internal controls are in a much better place. Once I came in, and that was one of the requests from the state controller's office, to look at our internal controls. We have been implementing more, and we are on top of our internal controls, especially when it comes to cash. We prepare accurate and timely municipal service bills, which are our utility bills, prepare statistical and financial analysis and reports, develop and maintain financial records and reports, prepare city basic financial statements, and coordinate the annual audit. As you well know, this year we presented our basic financial statements and our financial audit 6 months ahead of what we had done the prior year. For fiscal year 17-18, we presented the audit and financial statements in the month of October of 2019, and then 18-19 was presented in April. So it was 6 months ahead of time, and hopefully this year we're going to do better. The plan is to have it completed by January. So we will continue to bring you updates, and I think that's a major step towards our financial health, which is keep you updated on our reports, quarterly reports, and keep you updated on where we stand as far as revenues and expenses.
Just tell Martha so Martha can move it to the next slide.
Martha, go to page, I'm going to say page 5 or 6.
Finance.
There we go. The finance department serves as the city's central cashier. All the cash is received in the finance department from all the other departments. Some of the payments we received are for utilities, business license, development services, fees and charges, fire department fees and charges, code enforcement, fines and citations, parking, library fines, recreation charges, parking permits, dailies and monthlies, and airport miscellaneous charges. Again, all the cash is received at the finance department, as well as checks. Some of the checks are deposited at the other departments, but at the end of the day, we do keep record of that, and we do the accounting for all the payments received in all other departments. During the last fiscal year, the finance department processed 1,600 purchase orders, 2,800 accounts payable checks. We processed 26 payrolls, 5,800 payroll checks, 9,500 cash receipts, 8,491 bills per month for all of our to all of our residents, and 2,108 business license applications. This is what we do every day. It might seem as it's not much, but it does take the entire team to do all of this. Again, we are a support department, so we provide all the services to all of the departments within the city. So our next slide shows what our finance department currently is. This is an organizational chart. As you will know, I am leading this department. Martha Gomez is our executive assistant. Sandy Fonseca is our finance manager. We have one accountant, one administrative assistant who takes care of accounts payable. We have one accounting assistant who takes care of all the accounts receivable, another accounting assistant who takes care of requisitions and processing POs. We have our customer service department, which includes our revenue officer, which is the person in charge of all the utility billing and looking at all the readings and everything that has to do with our water, wastewater, and our solid waste billing, as well as the business license. And we have under that 2 accounting assistants who are the ones that receive all the cash and process all the payments. And we also have as we currently stand, 1 records assistant. This position is in the finance department because it was a transfer from another department. There is actually no need for a records assistant under the finance department, and that's going to take me to my next slide, which is what I am requesting this time. We will keep just about the same level of staffing. I'm just requesting to change the records assistant for a payroll technician, because at this moment, Sandy Fonseca, who's our finance manager, is taking that role as well. So that doesn't give enough time for her to do a lot of the other tasks that are required to do for our department and to move our department forward. So we're requesting to just change the position, a reclassification from a records assistant to a payroll technician. And I would also like to include a core enforcement person, a transfer from another department into the customer service department, which would help with code enforcement on all the business licenses and the water accounts. We work closely with the building and code enforcement department to have the person go out there and make sure that all of the businesses that are currently open have a current business license. If they're not, then they pay them another visit and sometimes cite them due to not being updated.
And if we did that on a comprehensive and thorough way, that would mean more revenue for us, right?
That is correct.
So it
Slovatos,
will
we
be
currently have, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
So it's gonna be transferred from another department?
From
is
another
that what you're
department,
saying?
right. We would not be increasing our general fund budget because that's a general fund allocation. We would just be transferring the person and the budget from one department to another. But that would give us a little bit more control over what this person is doing and be able to
Yes.
go out and visit the businesses and try to keep them.
Would that leave that department shorthanded?
I don't believe so. They would keep another code enforcement officer at the building department, so we would just be splitting them up. And that way we could work with this person closely and make
Yeah.
sure we're monitoring all the
Oversee the
businesses.
process.
Overseeing the process. And again, it would not only be used for business license, we could also use them for water. We do have a lot of water accounts that are not up to date, so this person would be working under that as well. So it's just changing the allocation where this person is being charged to. And I think that is.
That's it. Any
So,
questions? or
Any
comments?
questions that you might have?
Yours on top.
Okay.
Everything's getting done?
Let's see what we can do.
Let me ask it this way.
Sure.
All departments have a lot of needs. And obviously, we won't be able to fulfill all those needs. Would you be able to tell us what you think are the 2 or 3 top priorities for your finance department?
For my department, I actually like to keep the rest of the departments happy. As again, since we're a support department, I feel they are our top customers. So whatever they need, we always try to accommodate for them to have. I always like to leave my department last because I want them to have what they need so that they can provide the services that the city needs. Sometimes it's not the best thing to do. I believe that if we have that change on FTEs, that would leave my department in a good position to provide the service to the other departments as they need. I do believe once all of those requirements are fulfilled, maybe I would think about my department getting something else, but at this point, it's just reclassifying some positions and just help us bring more money to the city, and at that point, maybe
Yes.
in the near future, not this year, maybe not next one, but somewhere in the future, we could probably use some other things. But at this time, I believe the department is well suited to provide the services to the other departments.
Ms. Lovato, did we lose the record assistance? Was she gonna be doing something else because it's not on the new?
That FTE was transferred to the police department, which is where that position belongs. The job description is very detailed as far as belonging to the police department. The person that was transferring to finance had been originally in the finance department, then it was transferred to police. Then, due to the needs, and I believe the finance department had lost a few people, this person was brought back to finance. Then due to the needs of PD, it was transferred back to PD, and we were left with that empty
Vacancy.
vacancy, correct. We decided not to fill it through the rest of the year so we could save some money, but it is important that we have somebody fulfilling those duties. The staff is great, and they've been picking up all the things that were done by that staff, but at this point, we do need to fulfill that to provide a better service to the other departments.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Questions or comments? No? Okay, that concludes your presentation. Thank you very much, Mrs. Lavarte. Before we end, City Manager, would you like to make any comments or observations or insights, anything? You don't have to. You're content, you're happy, sir, today, having a good day? All right, they were. All right. Mr. Figueroa? No? Okay.
I'll save my comments for my turn next week.
All right, that'll be your turn next week. We're looking forward to it. All right, City Council, are there any more concerns or comments? All right. Yes, go ahead.
The nation has lost a lot of people through the deaths with this COVID. We can't have business as usual and fly our flag high like nothing's happening. I think we should recognize the lives of those in our nation and our county if we lower the flag and be a little respectful for the situation and what's happening in not just our nation, but the world. We're losing people. And we need to, I think, show a little recognition and respect, and we're not forgetting that lives are being lost. If we could lower the flag half, man.
I think that's an excellent idea.
It just occurred to me that we're not recognizing those lives that we're losing on a daily basis.
Okay, is there a motion to adjourn this meeting? Who'd
I
like
make
to
a
make that
motion to
motion?
adjourn the meeting.
All right, second. All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. This session or meeting is adjourned.